whatever that may be, a cabinet, a door, an appliance, whatever it might be, you can do that. As soon as I click on OK, what it did, it changed the window size to 3036. Now what I can do here is I can simply click on the window, and it opens up this edit box again. I could actually type in 24 inches. It's going to move that window over to 24 inches. Or I can come back over here and type in 12 inches. It's going to put that window 12 inches from this side. Or back into, I'll do 48 in this case. So what that allows me to do is move my window back and forth just by simply clicking on it. Now I can do the same thing in the elevation view by moving it up and down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an elevation view first. I'm going to click on this wall here. So I'm going to left click on the wall so it turns blue at each end. I'm going to go ahead and click on my elevation button here. And what it does, it creates an elevation of this wall called L1. Now I can go ahead and click on this wall where it lights up blue at each end, click on the elevation button again, and it brings up an elevation of this wall. So now I can flip back and forth through these two elevations. Now we also have the ability, let's say you had 15 walls in a design, you don't want to have to know what L1, L2 is. What I can do is I can actually right click on here, click on Edit View tab here, and go into, and call this, let's call the sink wall. I can click OK, and now it saves that as the sink wall. So you can actually label your elevations. Now just like we did here on this view here, if I click on the window here, it gives me this edit box here to go left, center, right. If I do the same thing in the elevation view, it gives me a top and bottom. So I can simply come in here and tell it I want it 42 inches off the floor. It puts that window in at 42 inches off the floor. So again, you can see it's very easy to do. Now if I ever close out the elevation views and I want them back, all I have to simply do now is click on the elevation button. It brings those elevations back. So again, you can see it's very easy. Now we're going to go ahead and place a cabinet into this corner. I'm going to show you the long way and the hard way to do that. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and find my cabinet. So I'm going to go ahead and move this window up here because I want more space there. I'm going to come down here and go into my Show Place Cabinetry in this case. The long way to find cabinets is by using your tree here. I can double click on base, slide this open here. I can come in here and go to my base corner, come down here and go to my square corner, and I can find my Susan. Now anything I find down here is something I can drag and drop out into the design. That is the long way of finding things. So I can go ahead and left click on the item I want, go ahead and hold it down and drag it out to the design here. Click on confirm, it places that cabinet into the design. Okay, so you can see that's very easy to do. The easy way to find this item would be to simply type in either, in this case I'll type in Susan, hit find, it brings up everything that says Susan in the description. Or I could just simply type in SSS and it's going to bring up everything that says SSS in the description. I can also come in here and type in a base 12. Let's say I want to type in a base 12 left. What I can do now is I can simply click on this picture again, double click on it, it brings that cabinet into here to where I can rotate the design and see the whole design. I can rotate that cabinet completely around like this. So you can see it's very easy to work that. Now again, what I can do is I can simply drag and drop this out to the design. It allows me to float this cabinet out here like this. As soon as I set it, I can go ahead and just place it in the design. Okay. Now we're going to go into what we call right-click functions on the cabinet. So I can right-click on the cabinet here. And what it does, it brings up a menu of things I can do here. I can drag the cabinet, so I can drag it from, along this plane, anywhere along this plane. If you notice, I can drag it past placement zones. I can right-click on the cabinet here. I can go to move. I can move it from here to here. So I can move it from one place there to there. I can set it. I can right-click again, move it from here. And in this case, if I right-click when I'm in a function, it allows me to rotate it and move it. So you can see I can rotate it and move it. As soon as I left-click it, it sets it into place. Now what I can do here is I can right-click again, go to move, click it back into this zone, and it snaps it square to that zone again. In this case, if I right-click, it allows me to move it in and out and back and forth. So every time I right-click, it allows me another function when I'm in a function. So that's very important. Next thing we have here is we have rotate. That's pretty self-explanatory. In out will allow you to move the cabinet in and out. Up down will allow me to move the cabinets up and down on the floor plan view instead of going to my elevation view. So you can simply just tell it what you want here or how far from the ceiling you want it. You can place it in that way. What I can do now is I can right-click on the cabinet. I can go to center. In this case, what I can do is I right-click on the cabinet, come down to center until I choose the action, and then choose the item I want it centered on. In this case, the window. It's centered right in the middle of the window. You use that function a lot of times by centering sinks into the sink base and things like that. I can also come in here and go to center, and I can actually center it to this wall here. I can center it to another placement zone, as long as it's on the same plane. Next function we have is exclusive to ProKitchen. I can come down and do this position. Let's say I want to take this cabinet here, and I want to put a specified distance from this cabinet here. Instead of doing the math and trying to figure it all out, let the computer do it. I can come down to Position, so I choose the cabinet, choose Position, click on the Susan in this case. It tells me it's 102 inches away from the Susan. I can simply type in this case, let's type in 11 inches. It places that cabinet 11 inches from the Susan. So you can see it's very easy to let the computer do the work instead of trying to figure out what the math is. The next function I have is I can go ahead and right click on the cabinet, come down here, and I can click on this fit. But before I do that, I'm going to copy this cabinet. I'm going to copy it here. I'm going to try to fit this 12-inch cabinet, the copy cabinet, into this 11-inch space. You'll notice what it does. It places it in the cabinet, in the space next to the cabinet, the next available space. What I can do now is on select manufacturers that allow width modifications, we have this fit function. What this allows me to do, this allows me to fit this 12-inch cabinet into this 11-inch space, and it makes the modification for you. So I can click on Fit here, click into the space here, it automatically put that cabinet into 11-inch space. If I double click on the cabinet and go to my attributes, you'll see that it made it 11 inches. It also makes the price adjustment for you in the price of the cabinet. I can also come back here where it says plan notation. I can type in base 11 left, hit OK. It actually places that cabinet in as a base 11 left. Now I can also come in here and let's say I want to delete this cabinet. There's two ways I can delete the cabinet here. I can go into the base 12 here and go to delete here, or I can simply click on the cabinet. Whoops, I double clicked on there. I can click on the cabinet, make sure it's highlighted red, and hit my delete key on my keyboard. Now the next function we have is a snap function. This is a very quick way to drag. I can right click on the cabinet, click on snap, click on the cabinet that I want it to snap to, it snaps that cabinet over. So again, very easy to do. Now the next function we have is very exclusive to ProKitchen. We have the stack function. I know in a lot of other programs that stacking cabinets is kind of a pain. What we've done is we've simplified it. I'm going to go ahead and use a wall 3030. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop it out to the design here. Just place it there. I'm going to go ahead and stack a wall 3012 on top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab the wall 3012, bring it out to the design here. I'm going to go ahead and place it out in the middle of the design. I'm going to right click on the cabinet, and I can either stack that cabinet above or below. I'm going to go ahead and click on above, click on this cabinet here, and what it did, it actually stacked that cabinet on top of the other cabinet. It also made it as a group. So it's actually a group of cabinets, to where if I right click here, I can either grab each cabinet, or I can grab the whole group, and I can ungroup it, I can move it, do all this kind of stuff here. I can actually save this to what we call my solutions. If I wanted to make this cabinet here into my own catalog of solutions, like such an island, and not necessarily this here, but if you want to do an island, you could actually take this whole solution, save it into my solutions for later use in another design. The other thing I can do here is I can actually change the catalog. Right now I have two show place catalogs in here because I created two catalogs. I could actually change this to a different catalog in case I wanted to make these into a different color. We could do that. It'd be very simple if I forgot to grab them out of the other catalog. So again, very easy to do. I'm going to close this out here. Next function we have here is we have the copy function. That's pretty self-explanatory. The next one is the replace function. This is again exclusive to ProKitchen. I can come here and go to the base 12, go down to replace. Come down here and find a cabinet I want to replace it with. Let's say I want to go ahead and replace it with a drawer base. I want to go into a 3-drawer base, a 3-drawer 12. I can find the cabinet here, simply double click on it, it changes that cabinet very, very quickly like that. Now the next thing I can do here is I can go into, we can actually add this to this group if we wanted to, or I can change the catalog like I talked about before. It allows me to change it into a different catalog. But I can go into attributes. The attributes are where you make all your modifications and changes to a cabinet. You can either right click on the cabinet, go to attributes, or simply double click on the cabinet. What this